All right, guys, once again, a very big welcome to our platform, Pinaxtv. So there is this particular breaking news which is actually reverberating all around the world, and this news is actually a very sad one. So breaking news reaching the decks of Pinaxtv indicates that Raila Odinga, who happened to be Kenya's former prime minister, is dead. So apparently there are questions as to what really killed him, what was the cause of death, and currently we are having more details as to what is really going on, what happened, and even more details surrounding the mysterious death of Raila Odinga. Now, it's no news that Kenya opposition icon Raila Odinga, who is 80 years, was having some medical issues. So recall that he was in India actually seeking some sort of a wellness check and some sort of retreat. But then we are learning that just this Wednesday morning during a wellness retreat at Sri Haryam Ayurvedic Eye Hospital in Kerala, which is in India, the five-time presidential candidate collapsed at 8 a.m. While on a garden walk seeking treatment for an eye-related ailment. Despite immediate CPR and transfer to the Death Hospital, he was pronounced dead at 9:52 a.m. That is officially in India. It will be around in Kenya. It will be around 6:52 a.m. An official autopsy confirmed the official cause of death as an acute heart failure as the main cause, with no foul play suspected. Also, this comes after Raila Odinga arrived in India 5 days ago following his daughter's successful 2017 treatment at the facility. Baba Odinga sought peace for his body after decades of struggle, the family spokesperson Dennis Onyacha said. His death ends a 50-year political saga marked by 9 years of prison under dictator Daniel Arap Moi, brokering the 2008 post-election power-sharing deal that averted a civil war and leading to the 2010 constitutional reform. As Azimio La Omoja head, he challenged President William Ruto's 2022 win, alleging fraud. Kenya, however, have declared a 7 days of national mourning. 7 days of national mourning. President Ruto, Odinga's former ally rival, addressed the nation that Raila was Kenya's conscience, a builder of democracy who endured torture for our freedom. Currently, flags are flying at half-mast. State funeral is also pending, and Nairobi's street froze after the news, as many residents in the slum areas openly wept. So currently, this is exactly what is really going on, and we are also learning that vigils are being held at Uhuru Park, where many are actually saying that the news about Raila Odinga's shocking death has really hit them hard. So currently, this is the particular news going on, and we also have a video of Raila Odinga's body, which is on its way from India to Kenya. Also, we have news about certain reactions from various world leaders, including Prime Minister of India, some cabinet members of the Trump administration, together with a whole lot of series, CNN's reaction, and a whole lot more. So stick and stay is a whole lengthy pack update that we are bringing to you right here on Pinaxtv. So the first thing, we'd like to look at the current transfer of Raila Odinga's body, which is en route from India to Kenya.
Just one moment. There is some footage that we are seeing here on our screens. This is in Kerala, India. And that right there is the coffin that has the remains of Raila Odinga. Remember, earlier we reported that he was taken to the Death Hospital, where the cardiologist pronounced him dead after efforts to revive him. This is in Kerala, India. Remember, the former premier went to India a couple of days ago seeking treatment, and this now is where he lays in this coffin. These are pictures from Kerala, India. Raila Odinga there, after passing on earlier this morning, earlier this day, from what we understand, is suffering a cardiac arrest. Now, it is to pick Raila Odinga and his remains that a delegation, we understand, of more than 30 is heading to India, to Kerala, to bring his remains. That delegation, as mandated by President William Ruto, is led by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and includes other cabinet secretaries: Kipchumba Murkomen of Interior, Hassan Ali Joho of Mining, Opio Wandae of Energy. Principal secretaries are also in this delegation. So are governors from various counties. We also have the assistance of the Indian government that we will get into in a moment. The leader of majority in the National Assembly, the leader of minority in the National Assembly. We've seen the Secretary General as well of the ODM party accompanying that delegation that is headed to Kerala, India, to then repatriate the remains of Raila Odinga, as you can see on your screen. Now, that repatriation exercise will be facilitated by a man who was a great friend of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, that is
So yes, we'll be getting into more details as to the sudden demise of Raila Odinga. But then world leaders are actually reacting to the untimely demise of Raila Odinga. Now, he was 80 years of age. And definitely this particular news is a very sad news to the citizens or the good people of Kenya. Now, Prime Minister Modi, who happened to be the Indian Prime Minister, posted a picture of himself together with Raila Odinga, and then he reacted to this with a post on his official X handle, and then he actually captioned this. So we'll just be reading it on the screens for you. This post came from India's Prime Minister. Unfortunately, Raila Odinga died in India, so India's Prime Minister saw it right to actually react to it, and the fact that he was also good friends with Raila Odinga. So Narendra Modi posted, who happened to be the Indian Prime Minister, he posted, "Deeply saddened by the passing of my dear friend and former Prime Minister of Kenya, Mr. Raila Odinga. He was a towering statesman and a cherished friend of India. I had the privilege of knowing him closely since my days as Chief Minister of Gujarat, and our association continued over the years. He had a special affection for India, our culture, values, and our ancient wisdom. This was reflected in his efforts to strengthen India-Kenya ties. He particularly admired Ayurveda and traditional medicine systems of India. Having witnessed their positive impact on his daughter's health, I extend my deepest condolences to his family, friends, and to the people of India in this hour of grief." So this was a very solemn moment that Indian Prime Minister actually reacted to the death of his good friend Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga, he was born in 1945 and he died in 2025. Now we have a lot of reactions that will be coming your way right here, right here on this particular platform, Pinaxtv. But then President Ruto actually addressed the nation in regards with the sudden demise of Raila Odinga, and actually ushering out some words of encouragement for the nation. Let's take a listen to what he said.
Fellow citizens, it is with deep sorrow that I inform the nation of the passing on of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, our former Prime Minister, Kenya's foremost statesman, and one of Africa's greatest sons. Kenya, Africa and the world mourn the passing on of a giant of democracy, a fearless freedom fighter, and a tireless warrior of good governance. Raila Amolo Odinga's name will forever be etched in the story of our republic, a story of struggle, sacrifice, courage, rule of law, hope, and of our pursuit for excellence. For decades, Raila dedicated his life to the pursuit of justice, equity, and freedom. He endured detention and persecution so that this nation might know and enjoy democracy. He championed reforms that gave birth to the rights and freedoms we hold dear today. His voice spoke for the oppressed. His conviction inspired generations, and his vision shaped the course of our history. Raila Amolo Odinga is truly a once-in-a-generation leader, a man whose ideals transcended politics and whose legacy will shape the destiny of Kenya for generations to come. A giant who towered for decades over our democratic landscape. He was a colossus of Kenya's modern politics, an indomitable warrior in our struggle for freedom and prosperity, and a statesman of boundless selflessness. In his passing, we have lost a patriot of uncommon courage, a Pan-Africanist, a unifier who sought peace and unity above power and self-gain, an unceasing servant of the people who gave his all to the promise of a better Kenya. On behalf of a grateful nation, I extend my deepest condolences to Mama Ida, his children, Rosemary, Raila Jr., and Winnie, the entire Odinga family, led by my brother, Oburu Oginga, to the leadership and members of Orange Democratic Movement, and to all Kenyans who share in this immense and immeasurable loss. In honor of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga's extraordinary contribution to our nation, I have declared a 7-day period of national mourning, during which the national flag shall fly at half-mast across the Republic of Kenya and in all our missions abroad. As a mark of respect, I have postponed all my public engagements for the coming days, and I ask all other public servants and leaders to do the same so that we can join the nation in this period of mourning and deep reflection. Our former Prime Minister, Raila Amolo Odinga, shall be accorded a state funeral with all attendant honors. In consultation with the family, a committee to be co-chaired by the Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki, and the Siaya Senator, Oburu Odinga, has been set up to coordinate the funeral arrangements. At the same time, the Government of India, at the request of the Government of Kenya, has offered to facilitate the repatriation of the remains of our former Prime Minister. Consequently, a delegation comprising government officials and family members, led by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, is leaving immediately for India to facilitate proper organization in the repatriation of the remains of our brother, the Honorable Raila Odinga. Other members of the delegation are Cabinet Secretaries Kipchumba Murkomen, Hassan Joho, and other ministers, National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, Minority Leader Junet Mohammed, and other members of the Odinga family, Jaoko Oburu Odinga, Kevin Obio Oginga, and others. And Mama Ida herself, the family has finally decided that she will join those who will be going to recover the remains of the Honorable Raila Odinga. Fellow patriots, we have lost a beacon of courage, a tower of principle, and a father of our democracy. Let us come together as he always urged us to do, not as rivals, but as brothers and sisters bound by a shared destiny. As we mourn, I call on all Kenyans to reflect on his towering legacy and the lessons impacted by Right Honorable Raila Odinga's life, work, ideas, and example. In a political career spanning decades, Raila Amolo Odinga offered a compelling model of principled politics. And at a critical moment in our nation's journey, he always put Kenya first before individual or personal interest. May his soul rest in eternal peace. May God comfort his family. May God bless Kenya. I thank you.
All right, so this was the president of Kenya, William Ruto, who actually addressed the nation. And basically, he was saying that he was basically also confirming the sudden demise of Raila Odinga, a tyrant of democracy, a tyrant of freedom. And also, when we talk about political reforms in Kenya, he's one whose name will go in the history books as a person who fought hard, and also his legacy and whatever he stood for will endure the test of time. Now, in the United States of America, where President Donald Trump happened to be the president of the United States of America, his administration, together with news portals in the US, they are also basically reacting to the sudden demise of Raila Odinga. Now, in the United States of America, you also realize that the most popular news outlets or newsletter or perhaps newspaper in the United States of America is the New York Times. So the New York Times posted a picture of Raila Odinga, and they captioned it with the year of birth, which is 1945 to 2025, and they posted Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister of Kenya, dies at 80 years. In fact, they even went on further to post a bit of something, or a bit of message on the official Twitter handle to their over 70 million followers. As you can see on the screens, the breaking news: Raila Odinga, a former prime minister and a tyrant of figure of Kenya politics, has died at the age of 80. And this is definitely a sad news. But then also, or still in the United States of America, many people are reacting. And as it is now, a new reaction is coming after CNN called their anchor to actually confirm the news and give them details as to what really happened in terms of the sudden demise of Raila Odinga. So definitely what you're about to watch is when they spoke with their India correspondent, or perhaps their African correspondent Larry Madowo, who actually explained what really happened to Americans about the sudden demise of Raila Odinga. Let's take a listen to this particular video. We'll be back shortly.
Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has died at age 80. He held the office from 2008 to 2013. Odinga's work as a pro-democracy activist led to important political reforms, including multi-party democracy and a new constitution. CNN's Larry Madowo is live in Nairobi for us for more on Odinga's life and legacy. Larry.
Brian, Kenya is in mourning, Africa is in mourning at the death of a towering statesman, one of the most recognizable African political figures of his generation. And that is no mean feat, considering he was never the president of Kenya. He contested 5 times for the presidency, lost 5 times, sometimes in controversial circumstances. And he is a man who was both loved and feared. Many Kenyan presidents ran against him only to turn around and do a deal with him, because his word could plunge the country into chaos or end it in one day. And right now, that man, Raila Odinga, dead at 80, and people are on the streets all around the country, from here, the capital of Nairobi, into other parts of the country, mourning this man who helped usher Kenya into multi-party democracy in 1991 and once again bring a progressive constitution in 2010. His legacy will be a long list of the ways that he's supported democracy, not just here in Kenya, but across the continent. And that's why you see this outpouring of grief in the country and being eulogized by global leaders, from Narendra Modi to the African Union chairperson, all talking about his democratic credentials and his support for the self-determination of the African people. That is why so many Kenyans are right now in mourning, thinking about everything he contributed to the country and what he leaves behind and the future of the political scene in the country that he was such a key part of. He ran again in 2022 against President William Ruto. He lost that election and then came around and did a deal that supported President Ruto's coalition and has some of his own supporters in the in the cabinet right now. And that's why this is such an important, towering figure of African politics, Brian.
Larry Bedoe in Nairobi for us. Larry, thank you.
So that was CNN's coverage as to what really happened when they actually contacted Larry, who happened to be a Kenyan, to explain what really went down in regards with the sudden demise of Raila Odinga. Meanwhile, in here, we are getting more detailed reports that the sudden demise of Raila Odinga, which happened to be a heart attack, or he had a cardiac arrest. Basically, he was just taking a stroll in the garden where he had gone in the garden of a hospital. He had gone for an eye treatment, and then he just collapsed. They rushed him to the emergency unit, but they tried to give him CPR, but unfortunately, he died. Now, we are getting whether this whole issue or this whole health scare did not start today. It started long ago, and we are going to listen to a voice explaining what really went on and how his years-long health battle actually led to this ultimate day that we have lost a very tiring figure in African democracy. Let's take a listen to this particular audio. We'll be back shortly.
Raila Odinga's hydrocephalus, fluid buildup on the brain, leading to his death. Raila Odinga, former Kenya's iconic opposition leader and former prime minister, for long embodied the struggle for democracy, but the physical toll of his activism left lasting scars. His 2010 diagnosis of hydrocephalus, a life-threatening buildup of fluid in the brain, has been linked to the brutal torture he endured during nearly 6 years of detention under President Daniel Arap Moi's Nyayo regime in the 1980s. Odinga's ordeal began in August 1982, when he was arrested on baseless charges of involvement in a failed coup against Moi's government. Detained without trial until 1988 in harsh facilities like Kamiti Maximum Prison and Shimo La Tewa, Odinga faced relentless physical and psychological abuse. In his 2013 autobiography, The Flame of Freedom, he describes a brutal interrogation where Special Branch Officer Josiah Kipkurui Rono beat his head and shoulders with a broken table leg, leaving him dazed and collapsed. Further assaults targeted his chest and genitals, causing severe trauma. Neurologists note that such repeated blows to the head can lead to traumatic brain injuries, a known precursor to hydrocephalus even decades later. Hydrocephalus, marked by excessive cerebrospinal fluid pressing against the brain, triggers intense headaches, fatigue, and potential neurological damage. In June 2010, Odinga underwent emergency surgery at Nairobi Hospital, where neurosurgeon Oluwak Olunya drained the fluid through a small skull incision. While initially attributed to a minor head injury from a car accident weeks prior, the severe head trauma from 1982 is now considered a significant contributing factor. Blunt force trauma to the head, as described in Mr. Odinga's accounts, can disrupt the brain's ability to regulate fluid, leading to conditions like hydrocephalus years later, said Dr. Michael Okoth, a Nairobi-based neurologist. The latency of symptoms is not uncommon in such cases. The torture extended beyond physical violence. Odinga endured solitary confinement in dark, flooded cells, starvation, and psychological torment, including being denied contact with his family and barred from attending his mother's funeral. These conditions likely amplify the long-term health impacts of his injuries. Released in 1988 amid international outcry, Odinga carried forward the physical and emotional scars of his detention. Raila Odinga's hydrocephalus, fluid buildup on the brain, leading to his death. Raila Odinga, former...
So now that is exactly what is really going on according to the video that you just watched. They are saying that whatever did happen was actually years in making. But fortunately, Raila Odinga, he was a fighter. He happened to actually fight his way through. And what we saw, or what we are seeing now, is that he lived to the age of 80 years. And that is something that a lot of people are actually applauding. Now, Raila Odinga will be remembered for a lot of things. But one of the things that Raila Odinga will be remembered for was his support for the Gen Zs during their recent demonstrations against the Ruto government. He came out to say say that, Gen Zs believe that they've been neglected. They are the youth. They are the gold of the country, the future of the Kenya country. So whatever that day, their concerns should be heard, and then the police should actually be lenient with them. That was the moment that Kenyans actually knew that this man was on the right side of history. We have a video, a playback video of what he said during the Kenyan protest. So let's take a listen to this particular video. When we come back, we'll continue.
The issues that have been raised by Gen Zs are not new issues. There are similar issues which we raised last time, even last year on the streets. We talked about unemployment in our country. We talked about high cost of living in our country. We talked about corruption, rampant corruption in the country. We talked about tribalism and ethnicity, discrimination in our country. And then we talked about management of debt in the country. These are critical issues that need to be discussed. But thirdly is the issue of governance. We have a new constitution, but we are not actually following that constitution. There are issues which were pending. Kenyans met at Bomas of Kenya and deliberated for a very, very long time and came up with a very, very progressive constitution. That constitution was bastardized to a certain extent during the so-called Naivasha process. We must go back to the Bomas draft constitution, put it back on the table, and see what needs to be cleaned up so that we can have a progressive constitution. So we said, therefore, that it's on the basis of that kind of elaborate process that we can then talk about a government of national unity. But then you say that if you want to take some of our experts and get into your government, we release them to join your government and work in accordance with the ethics of our party, ODM and Azimio. That's what we said. We have not changed. The position has not changed. We said we want to see a new Kenya, and the people of Kenya are entitled to it. And that's why we said we agree with Gen Z in their demands.
So this was Raila Odinga when he said that he agrees with Gen Zs on their demand during the last 2 years protests. Now, in regards with all of these things going on, he also reiterated his support, saying that the police should be lenient and respect the youth and not shoot at them during the demonstration. We have a video of what he said during that time when he was reaffirming his support for the youth during the Kenya mass protest.
We are at a crossroads in Kenya today. First, I want to pay condolences to all those who lost their beloved ones. We lost so many of young, promising lives unnecessarily during this last 1 week because of trigger-happy policemen who have been given instruction to shoot to kill. In civilian authorities all over the world, police are not supposed to be shooting to kill people. Police responsibility is to protect the life and property of the people of Kenya. But a police officer who goes out and becomes rogue and begins to shoot aimlessly is a criminal who needs to be dealt with in accordance with the law. What we saw the other day is something that was unimaginable. It's completely unprecedented in the 61 years of Kenya's independence. We never see things like this. We've seen scenes like those ones here. We're being told about goons who have been hired. Who are these goons? No, who hired those goons? Tell us. Tell us. Who are these goons and who hired those goons? We reach a stage where the government has to go and even bring the military into the streets. This means that civilian authority has failed. The civilian forces have failed to deal with the people. The military are not supposed to be in the streets. Army is there to defend the country against foreign aggression, not to deal with internal strifes. And that's why it is very wrong for him in our court to rule that you can continue to maintain army on our streets. We have got Kenyan police to deal with this. But we have said this so many times that the law allows Kenyan people to peacefully picket, peacefully demonstrate against what they don't like. Peaceful demonstrators should be actually escorted by police. They should not be shot by the police. So what we've seen, indiscriminate bloodletting in our country is completely inexcusable and unacceptable. We condemn in the strongest terms possible this brutal use of the police force against the innocent people of our country. And we are saying that this time has now come for Kenyan people to come together as one people and talk as one people and talk about the Kenya we want. This is the time for this. We are going to talk about the details of those engagements in the coming weeks. But we want to say that our people should continue to remain firm. God is with us. And if God is with us, who can be against us?
So that was one of Raila Odinga's last words during the Kenya mass protest, where a lot of people were brutalized by police, and he was saying that he was actually speaking against the police brutality, and that the Gen Zs protesting, the youth basically should be treated with care and courtesy. And then it just shows what a great man he was. Now let's take this comment and let's just end this live. He says, this is coming from Ahmed Nasir Abdullah SC. He says, it reads, Honorable Raila was the most consequential politician in Kenya in the past 3 decades. He will be missed at many levels at the political scene. He left few enemies, some allies, and many orphans. To Mama Aida and the kids, Paulini, a political giant, has rested. And the date of birth here is 1945 to 2025. So this is exactly what is really happening in regards with untimely demise of Raila Odinga. And then we want to just wish a lot of Kenyans who are watching this, we just want to sympathize with you, and we just want to say, in this moment of grief and in this time of despair, we as Ghanaians, Nigerians, we are with you. And then may God richly continue to sympathize you and fill the void that you've lost. If Raila have fallen, or Raila Odinga have fallen, if he's dead, please be rest assured that 1,000 more Odingas will rise. 1,000 more Odingas will rise. So we end here. We end this particular live, and we thank you so much for joining us during our special coverage of the most popular Raila Odinga. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in a bit.